And just like that, we are back at the top, at the beginning of another Savage stream. I'm all right. How are you guys doing? This is actually Crypto Fireball Friday, and I am a couple, probably 3 Fireball teas in, so I'm doing all right. I didn't really have any like real content that I wanted to cover, but I did notice that ZEL was at the top of WhatToMine, at least for my rig. So if you go over to WhatToMine.com and you go to Kessel for the NVIDIA rig, which is basically right now the only rig that I have on as far as my own personal rig. And it's a little bit older, you know, it's like a couple years old. So it's got, you know, two 1070s, two 1070 Ti's, and two 1080s. But if you go over here and I plug in my values, which is 10.3 cents per kilowatt hour, then you can see that ZEL is kind of up there at the top. So I was like, you know what? Yesterday I was mining Bitcash because Bitcash was at the top. And then I checked today and Bitcash had fallen quite a bit. And ZEL, another project that I like to support, was at the top. So I was like, you know what? I'll switch it over to that. So that's what I did. And Chancoin, where was I yesterday? Well, yesterday, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you would have discovered that I worked in the yard for like 4 hours, and I did a lot of extra stuff, like not just cutting the grass. So I have a push mower, and I have about probably, if I was to guess, I would say it's probably like half an acre, maybe something like that. And a push mower that used to be a like one of those self-propelled mowers, right? So like the front wheels used to have a drive assembly that would pull it. You know, you basically just walk behind. I think that's actually what they call them, is like a walk behind mower. Well, somebody had messed this drive up because of how they cut the grass. So now it's basically just a push mower. So imagine cutting a, you know, basically half an acre of yard with a push mower. And not only that, but I mean, because there's really, like, you engage the drive assembly and nothing, the wheels spin, but there's really no power behind it. You know what I mean? So like, you're actually ending up pushing the mower more than a regular push mower. And whenever your grass is a little bit higher, of course, then it makes it even that much harder. But in addition to that, I also got rid of, I manually cut down a lot of bushes in the preserve behind my house just to kind of clean it up, because it looked really dirty. It looked like really like a lot of weeds and stuff. So there's these specific types of weeds back there that whenever you look at it, you're like, that looks like garbage, right? So it's not like a normal growth on like a tree. It was like their own standalone little weeds, I guess is what you would call them, but they're kind of like bushes. Like you would normally take like a bush hog or something to it. So I manually cut all those down, stacked them up and stuff. So anyway, I was destroyed. After all that, I was like, I can't even think about crypto right now. I can't do anything right now. So that's why I didn't go live last night. Long story there, Chan. Sorry for the long story, but that is the truth. I just did not feel like I could do it. I tried to play some poker. Shuby got on there for a minute, but yeah, it was like really short-lived. So maybe tonight you guys will want to play some poker. I don't know. I'm kind of getting a little bit jaded with the, not jaded. I'm a little bit frustrated with the lack of interest in the whole poker tournament thing, the charity poker tournament. I've had some subscribers actually say that they want to donate some crypto to like first place, so that it makes it kind of like worth something, and actually not just have something like not just have it go to charity. So like you know how poker players are, right? So poker players kind of want to, if they invest their time, they kind of want to get something back for that. So I kind of understand that. I agree. It's one of those things. So I think that we're going to try to get a little bit of a pool together for the winner to at least get their entry fee back. So like the entry fee is about $10, you know, in crypto roughly. I mean, if you send $10, then that qualifies you for getting a seat in the tournament. And I think that if they were if the players knew that if they won, that they could at least get their entry fee back, I think that would be kind of cool. So there's a little bit of things going on in the background that hopefully we can get that worked out and draw a little bit more interest to the tournament, because right now there's only one person signed up, and it's me. So you know, I don't know what that says. You know, am I the only one that's interested in this? Maybe, but I would rather, you know, get the community involved. I thought that it was going to be a super cool thing where people could get involved, the subscribers could get involved, and they could actually play against, you know, their favorite YouTubers, or however you want to say it. They could play against other subscribers. I thought it was going to be really cool. It turns out that maybe it's not. So I don't know. Maybe poker's dead. I don't know. It's been a while since I was into it, so I'm learning. I'm learning that maybe it might be actually dead, or people are just busy, you know, or people are worried about the quarantine or lockdown or corona or whatever. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But you would think that if they're able to sit at their computer and actually play against maybe like Red Panda Mining or potentially other YouTubers, you know, we're trying to get some other big YouTubers. I'm not going to name any names, but we're trying to get some bigger YouTubers in there to actually play as well. I think that would be a draw. We kind of did the same thing with the Veta frame build, and that didn't work out too well because we got big timed or whatever. I don't know what happened with it, but it didn't work out. So, you know, that part of it's a little bit frustrating for me, because it's like, you know, it seems like an hour of somebody's time to help out a community would be logical. It seems like that would be worth it to me, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just coming at it from, you know, a small YouTuber standpoint. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just thinking too small. I don't know, man. Crypto Pope, we are playing on PokerStars, and I can send you the info. Chancoin's in there, Nefarious is in there. There's a lot of people that are in there. There's like 14 of us that are in there already. But the goal was to actually have a tournament, a Turbo Texas Hold'em tournament that was basically you send $10 worth of crypto to an address, right? And that kind of like enters you in the tournament. And then whoever wins the tournament gets to determine where the pot goes to their charity. So it's for charity. That was the goal, was for it to be for charity. But like I said, we're trying to figure out a way of maybe incentivizing the winners, maybe the like top 3, depending on how many people are in there total, to actually win something, right, for themselves, whether it's crypto or like a Veta frame or something, right? There's, you know, some type of incentive to actually play in the tournament. Because it, you know, I mean, in all honesty, it could take, depending on the number of players, it's a turbo tournament. It probably could take, you know, 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday, right? Maybe if there's a whole lot of people, it could take up to maybe 4 hours. So, you know, I mean, I get it. You know, not everybody has 4 hours to spare, but the way it's set up, I think it would work. I used to run tournaments way back when, like 10 years ago. So I think that the way that it's set up is actually pretty good. And it seems like it would be something that people would be interested in, man. They get to play poker, you know, and potentially bluff, you know, Red Panda Mining off of a huge pot or whatever, right? So I think that that's cool, but I don't know. Again, I think I'm just looking at it from my crypto-centric perspective, right? And maybe I'm a little bit too involved in it, and maybe I'm not seeing the reality, right? I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. So yeah, I don't really want to cancel it. I want to press on with it. There is something going on. Like Red Panda is not going to promote it until after Sunday. So Sunday is the Veta frame build off between myself and crypto mining lifer. He won the first round of Veta frame. I won the second round, which is kind of crazy because I wasn't even supposed to be in there because I lost the first round. But because some other people big timed us and they didn't want to participate, I guess. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what it is. They did not participate in the second round either. So I was able to compete in the second round. So I won the second round. So now it's me and Crypto Mining Lifer for the total. And I had been saying on previous streams that I thought, the way I understood it, was that the pot had already been donated to charity from the first round, and then there was a smaller second round pot. So I was thinking that maybe that was going to be carried over into the final round for, you know, the charity. But come to find out, all that's bunk. That's not true. It's all going to be in one. So the winner of this Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I believe, is whenever we're competing again. The winner of that, there's $1,500 that we raised in charitable donations to a charity of our choice. Whoever wins, it goes to their charity. That's crazy. For a small little community, I mean, we held an event of building a Veta frame, for crying out loud, and we got $1,500 in donations. I think that that's pretty solid. So thanks to Nerd Gears, even though, you know, they don't like sponsor my show or anything, but they did match the first round, I believe is the way it worked. So there was like $500 in donations the first round. They matched it, and then the second round there was maybe 500 or something. I don't know. I don't have the details on the actual values, but I think it's around 1,500 at this point. Maybe if Crypto Mikhail was in here, he could chime in. I don't know, but because he's the one that's kind of like consolidating everything and managing that part of it, the donations part of it. So pretty cool stuff. $1,500 for a small community like ours, a niche of a niche. You know, we're a niche of the crypto community whenever you talk about mining. So I think that that's kind of cool. Yeah, definitely smash the like and all that junk. Let me see what you guys are talking about over here. All right, so the tournament. Okay, so the poker tournament. Let's go through it. I'm actually supposed to be talking about ZEL. Let's talk about ZEL first real quick. So you can see that ZEL, again, for my rig, was at the top of the charts as far as WhatToMine goes. Wasn't at the very top, but it was at the very top at one time. You can see like a little 6 GPU rig getting 217 today after power cost is actually pretty good. That's actually not that bad. I mean, it's horrible compared to 2017 values, but hey, it is what it is. You know, you got to take what you can. So at least it's not in the negative. So I decided to go off of Bitcash. I mined Bitcash for about a day. Okay. So yesterday I started mining Bitcash whenever I saw that it was at the top. Today I got off of it and got on to ZEL. But again, I like seeing all these projects that I've covered before and that I support and that are on like my top 10 list, if you want to say, that they're still up here. They're still profitable. I think that that's kind of cool that I was able to kind of choose or pick some projects that would probably succeed, like Swap, and I've done content on SnowGem before, but Bitcash for sure. You know, Rio is still up here pretty good. Grin and ZEL, of course. I haven't done a lot of stuff on Zcoin. I probably should get on that because that's kind of a big project, but I probably should do some content on that, and maybe Zero as well, and maybe Vigilum. Vigilum's got a lot of stuff happening, but their volume is really low. Their market cap is really low. You know, I don't know. Maybe I need to look at Zero and Vigilum a little bit further because they are sometimes they're at the top of WhatToMine, so it's probably worth taking a look at. I've done content on Anon before, but it's been a couple years. But it is kind of cool to see them at the top. So what I'm doing is I'm actually mining ZEL, and I thought if you go to WhatToMine, this is what's kind of crazy. I don't know, maybe I'm just not giving this thing enough power or what, But if I plug in my values for, you know, my rig here, it says that I should be getting about 222, in this case it would be souls per second, right? Because it's an equihash. Is that true? Yeah. So souls, 222 is what it says I should be getting. Let me check the, let me see what I'm actually getting at the wall here for the power, because it says 222 at 840 watts, and that's with these overclock settings right here. Okay, so that's how it does its value. All right, that's how it does its computations. So let's check this out here. I'm gonna go to my rig, if it comes up. I'm just on my phone right now, guys. Give me a second. I'm just looking at the smart power meters. Which actually, I haven't said that. I did tweet, no, I put it in Discord. These things are super cheap right now. If you go to, let me go to Discord and grab that link here. I'm going to paste this in here. Let's see if this works here. No. Let me see if I can get it to go over there. Give me just a second, guys. Because this, you know, some people ask about the power monitoring capabilities that I have. They've probably seen it on some of the streams where I fire up an app on my phone and I can see like the consumption over 30 days and the current power draw and all that stuff. Right now, for some reason, the app's not working. It's kind of crazy, but okay. But yeah, so I was doing a little bit of research and I actually found them online again, you know, on Amazon. I just posted the link over there in chat, and they are super cheap right now. I think they're getting ready to either discontinue them or, you know, replace them with a newer model or something. So something's going on because they are super cheap. They are $10 each basically for this smart monitoring capability. And the cool thing is, check this out. So the really cool thing is that I tested some because I have 4 of them. So I was like, you know what? And I don't know if you guys remember, but if you haven't been watching all the videos on the channel, I did get a PDU for a 240 volt AC outlet, and I've got all that hooked up. And I've got one rig currently running off of 240 on that PDU, and that's Mustafar, one of the rigs here. And but the cool thing was that I actually plugged up this HS110 TP-Link smart monitoring energy monitoring smart plug energy monitoring smart plug. Good grief, I'll get it out. And I was able to, now it says on it, on the back of it, it says 115 or 120, probably 115. It says 115 on the back of it. But I had read somewhere long ago that someone had actually plugged it up to 220 and it was fine. So I went ahead and I was like, you know what? I got 4 of these things. I'll just go ahead and try it out and see, just to make sure. And sure enough, the thing works. Although right now it's not coming up on my app for some reason. I don't know why. But I did go ahead, because of the price, I did go ahead and snag a couple. I grabbed a 2-pack, right? Because whenever I get all of them, whenever I get the rigs moved into the mining cave, whatever we're going to call this closet over here, whenever I get the rigs moved into there, then I am going to have, if I want to monitor the power, I'm basically, the way I'm looking at it, I'm going to have 1 smart plug per power supply. Now I could do it a different way, but I think the safest way is probably to do it that way, and then we'll have to combine them at the end of the month. We'll have to add them up and stuff. I think that's probably the way to do it. It's probably not the most efficient way, because I probably could get a power strip, but I don't want to plug a power strip into a PDU, right? I probably could get away with it, but I don't want to risk anything. I don't want to risk fires and all that nonsense. So I think I'm just going to go with with this way and actually have one smart plug per PSU. And again, we ain't even talking about ZEL, even though that's what the thumbnail is. Let me see what you guys are talking about over here. Serpent, yes, I had to run a 10, it's probably a 10.3 and a 30 amp breaker. Yeah. For that PDU. And that's actually something I'm going to be working on, because that outlet is in the garage, and I don't want the rigs in the garage anymore because it's way too hot. I want to basically put everything in this closet over here, and do the whole cooling system and the exhaust fan and all that stuff, like we've talked about a couple of times on the stream here. So that's kind of like the plan, is to get everything into that closet and have some type of proper cooling, proper exhaust, all that stuff. And then I also want to have basically like a valve to where, for the ducting, that I can shift from exhausting into the attic, or exhausting the heat from the rigs from the room into the house during the winter, right? To kind of offset the heating costs. And I think it'll work the way, in my crazy ass mind, I think it'll work. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm still kind of working out the details. I actually went to the Orange store today to look at some stuff and try to figure out what I needed. And what I'm going to do, instead of, because a 220 circuit, if you're not familiar, a 220 circuit or a 240 is supposed to be singular. So it's one circuit, and you want to not have multiple outlets on one circuit, right? So it's one outlet per circuit is the way it's supposed to work. I don't know about the code part of it. I think you can wire them. I don't know if it's legal code-wise to wire them like two outlets on one 30 amp breaker, okay? A 240. I don't know if that's to code or not. Now, in my case, I could do it because I know that it's one circuit, right? So I could do it, but there's some voltage drops and some things that you have to kind of pay attention to. You don't want to have too much of a drop and then, too much amps through it and burn up the wire and cause a fire and all that stuff. So I think what I'm going to do, to be totally safe, because I'm probably not going to use the rigs or have the rigs in the garage anymore at all. So what I'll probably do is just pull that outlet back, right? Pull the wire back and then take the outlet out and put it and drop it in, because the way it runs over, it's longer, it's further distance to the garage than it is to the closet. So I could just pull it back up, drop it back down into the closet, and I think I'll be good there. Basically, it's like, a 240 volt AC. The general rule is, for every 1 foot, there's one drop of voltage. So in other words, if you have 240 volt, the maximum length of the wire should be about 240 feet, but typically you wouldn't get anywhere near that. You want to have it a lot less than that, and in this case it's only like 30 feet, maybe at the most. 30, maybe 40 feet. I mean, yeah, maybe 40 feet. So I'm well within that range, and I think I'll be fine. But I really want to get everything into this closet. So let's see here. What are you guys chatting about? Here I am. I'm supposed to be covering ZEL, because that's what the thumbnail says, and I ain't even talking about it at all. You got me talking about all this electrical stuff. I don't think that. Well, Brandon's not going live tonight. Is anybody else going live tonight? Anybody else? What is it? DCA Adventure might be at 10. Yep. So they're going live at 10. That's tonight. So I got 2 minutes. 2 whole minutes. All right. So I am on Hive and I am mining ZEL. But as you can see, I am only at 213 souls per second, which I thought was a little bit odd, because normally WhatToMine is a little bit lower than what you would actually get. But in this case, it's saying I should get 222. So maybe it's just a power thing. Maybe I just don't have enough power given to the GPUs. Maybe that's what it is. So you can see here that I've got, you know, the GPUs lined out here. You've got the 1070, the 1070 Ti, the 1080, and then you got them doubled up. And the reason that they're doubled up for documenting this is that I took the overclock settings from Overcooked Panda's database on WhatToMine.today, and that's what these values are right here for the overclock settings and power. And then you can see right here the souls per second. Is that right? Souls per, yeah. So that's what this is right here. And then these are from WhatToMine. So these are WhatToMine's recommended settings as far as what they use for their calculations. Now, I am not seeing 220. Okay, so it says that I should be getting 222, but I'm only seeing somewhere down here. I'm only seeing 213. Serpent, I don't know about the voltage drop for the different footage, but it seems like, I mean, there is a calculation for it, but like in my case, I'm using 10.2 or 10.3. I got to look at the actual outlet because I actually had it professionally installed, so I need to look and see if they used 3 or 2 conductor wire Romex, and I got to figure that out obviously before I pull other cable or I pull that back. Actually, if I pull that outlet back, it's not going to matter that much because I'll just drop it down and cut the wire and be good to go. I thought about just adding an outlet, but I don't want to extend that cable too far. So yeah, this is Gminer. Maybe, yeah, you might be right there, Crypto Sweden. Maybe change the miner, but I mean it's pretty close. I mean 213 is not that far away from 222. You know, in the overall scheme of things, it looks like I'm dropping some shares too. Not too bad, but I'm probably, if I was to guess, I would say that it's probably that negative 500 coming from Overcooked Pandas that might be causing a little bit of a problem. But I wanted to compare them, right? So that's kind of what this is about right here, is just being able to compare them. You can see that WhatToMine gives a much more consistent between all the different GPUs, the 3 different GPUs. Overcooked Panda is probably a little bit pushing a little bit harder than WhatToMine, in my mind anyway. That's what it seems like. Although the core, let's see, the power, yeah, so actually WhatToMine actually has a little bit more power in there. But if you look at the actual GPUs, you know, these values are in the rig here. Let's go over here and look at this. So if we go to the rig, you can see that the different values are set for each one. So let's go back through them real quick because I want to look at this. So these top 3 are actually the 1070, the first one in the list. Okay, so I hate the way that this is set up because it's a little bit confusing, but if you, I think I'm on 209, Crypto Sweden. I want to say I'm on 209. Oh no, I'm on 2.1. Okay. Maybe 2.1's too got some problems or something maybe. All right, so you can see here is a 1070, and then for GPU 0, and then GPU 2 is a 1070 also. And you can see they're pretty close on souls per second, pretty close on fan speed, pretty close on power. And the only difference is basically is the memory is negative 500 on from Overcooked Panda's website and our database, and 500 on WhatToMine. So that's the only difference of those two. And clearly, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. It seems like the core and the power is probably what makes a big difference. The memory doesn't seem like it does a whole lot because you got negative 500 here and 500 here, but the souls per second are the same, are very close, right? So I'm thinking that the memory doesn't play that big of a part as far as this value here. So you might be able to get away with like a 0, like a stock setting or something over here. Maybe we could throw a little bit more power at it and see if we could get that up a little bit. I don't know, but I mean, looking pretty solid. I mean, 31 on a 1070 isn't bad, so I think that that's okay. And then for the 1070 Ti, you got 37, pretty close to the other one as well, 37.9. So you got the two 1070s here. This is the Overcooked Pandas database overclock settings, and this is WhatToMine settings, which they are identical. Nope. So the WhatToMine is 150 on the core, Overcooked Pandas is 100. But you can see, okay, so maybe if I put 150 up here, I could probably get 38 or 37.9, right? So maybe this one would be better off with 150 on the core. Although the power is quite a bit more. I wonder if maybe if I up that a little bit, maybe it would drop it down as far as the power consumption. I know that this varies a little bit over time, but it seems like maybe I could do that. Yeah, see, now it's all the way down to 112. Okay. So anyway, you know, that's kind of worth looking at. And then the 1080, you got the 3 and 5 here. So they are pretty close, within 0.6 of each other, okay? Pretty close on power. And everything else is pretty close also. So I don't, you know, it can't really determine a winner here at this point. You'd probably have to monitor it for quite some time. But I'm wondering how I could get, because like I said, WhatToMine says I should be getting 222. And I'm not that close to that. So, I mean, what are we at? 213. So it's probably a power situation where I need to give a little bit more power to maybe the 1080s. They're both at 126. So maybe we could go to like 134, somewhere around in there. Maybe give them like 75% of TDP. And then maybe let's do 134 on all of the 1070s and the 1070, or I'm sorry, the 1070 Ti's and the 1080s. Let's go 134 on those, just to see. All right. See if we can get 222 up here. Oh man, I'll have to check out Jay's 2 cents video there in the forest. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm sure there's a real calculation for it. I just don't know what it is. I've been working on other things like BTUs and CFMs and all that stuff. I've been trying to figure out the proper calculations for what I'm going to need to cool this room once I get the rigs in there, which is kind of cool because it's been interesting to learn this kind of stuff. I think it's kind of neat. Here goes like a little spreadsheet that I've been working on. But basically the room is really small. It's 5 by 5. So, you know, total square feet is 25. Ceiling height is 10 feet. So you got 250 total cubic feet, the volume, and then you got to decide the one factor that you have to decide is how often do you need the air changed in that space, right? And you got to consider, you have to consider how much power all your systems give out, because the really cool thing is that basically in a data center environment, for every watt that is consumed by the equipment, you need to equally distribute that heat from that 1 watt, right? So it becomes a situation where it almost levels out, it evens out, and you need to know, like in my case, okay, 4 rigs, and I say, okay, 1200 watts each, which is a little high, right? So that's just for the calculations. So that's 4800 watts. So you can see right here, I've got 4800 watts, and that's part of the calculation. So with 4800 watts, then it says that basically if I want to change the air in the space every, what does this come out to? This is, so if you wanted to do it every 1 minute, right? So you would only need a 250 CFM exhaust fan. But let's say you wanted to do it every 0.2 minutes, then you would need a 1250 CFM fan. Does that make sense? So this would be every what? 10 seconds? Is that 10 seconds? No, I'm not gonna be able to do this math right now. But basically, you know, it's pretty often, right? So every 15 seconds or so, or whatever that comes out to. I guess 0.25 would be 15 seconds. So let's do that. Every 15 seconds, you would need a 1000 CFM fan, and that's based on your amount of watts. So if you had, you know, 6000 watts instead, then that would change. Now I need to get these calculations down because you see that nothing else changed over here. So there's some missing calculations in here, but I'm trying to work on this to try to figure it out in my head with exactly what is needed. But it is important, like you can look at, you know, CFMs and CFMs for getting the air circulated through the space in a certain amount of time. Like in this case, every 15 seconds, right? But you also need to know how much heat you're putting into the space that you need to extract, because that's an important part of it. So that's where this spreadsheet comes in, and I'm trying to work through it and figure it all out. Because I want to get it pretty accurate to where I can actually expand and not have to worry about overheating in the room. Like if I was to add GPUs, a couple rigs, you know, even up to like 4 or 5 rigs or 6 rigs, you know, is it going to actually cause the room to overheat and me to have to modify the system? I don't want to have to modify the system in the future. I want to make it future proof. Okay, that's kind of like the goal. Yeah, thanks Chancoin. 12 seconds. Yeah, again, I've, you know, a couple fire teas in, and I can't do math anyway live, so yeah, it is what it is. All right, so let's check out our HiveOS over here. See where we're at. It does sound like it's working a little bit harder here. So we got it up to 216. So that's not bad. But we're at 729 on the power. I think we were way below that before. I think we're in the 500 watt range. Yeah, so like at the wall right now, it's 885 watts for a 6 GPU rig. So what I would do, because we didn't gain a whole lot. So let's go through this. So let's look at, let's see here. If we go to the rig and then we look at, let's plug this into our spreadsheet here. What I'm gonna do is let's copy All right, so let's do this. No, that's not what I wanted. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So, oh, you know what? I need, actually, let's see here. I need all of this right here. Let's see if this works. No, that's not going to work either. I need this right here too. I'll get it. Give me a second. All right, so let's go back over here and look. We got on the 1070, we got 31.1. Still the same up here. 1070, we got 31.3 at 100 watts, so that seems a little bit more efficient. .3. Okay, so we really only changed. We only changed the. All right, so let's go. Let's do this. Let's give the 1070s maybe like 115 on the power limit. Let's just see what happens here. But I don't know what the solutions per second are going to be. So let's let that reboot. I want to see if I can hit 222. That's kind of like the goal. But again, I don't know if that is going to be, you know, the most efficient, right, for souls per second. Yeah, the spreadsheet's missing a little bit because you can see that it didn't change. I was trying to work out BTUs and all kinds of stuff. It didn't really change that, although this is really important right here. This part, from this part over, is probably pretty accurate, right? But it's based on, you know, your own perception with how many times you want the error to transfer, or the error in the space to be replaced every minute. So like if you said, okay, every 3 minutes is all I need, I just need it to be out of there and replaced with new error every 3 minutes, then you can see like the CFM goes way down, right? 4 minutes, I mean, good grief, you could put a little a $5 box fan in there and be good to go, right? But if you need it transferred over more than that, you know, like 0.5 maybe every 30 seconds, then you need, you know, even in a 5x5 space, you need a 500 CFM fan. So what I was looking at getting was one of those, what are they called? Infinity AC fans, I think, something like that. What am I looking at here? It's not that. Not that. Yeah, one of these guys here. So like this one is, so this is a 6-inch, which I think I would probably go with a much larger one than that. 402 CFM. So see, I would need, like, you know, this goes back to the spreadsheet. So if you want to transfer every 0.2 minutes, then you need a 1250 CFM fan, right, for this little space of mine. So So this one wouldn't do it. I mean, 2 of these or 3 of these would be okay. So I'm looking at something like a 12-inch, most likely here. So 12-inch is 1604 CFM. And the cool thing about these, see, another thing that I need to meet is it's got to be quiet because it's right here in my room and I watch TV in here and stuff. So I can't have like a really loud fan, you know, exhausting air, you know, out through the ceiling or into the house or whatever. So I need to be careful with that. I want it to be super quiet, and that's where this one kind of came in. Because apparently, I mean, it's at 62 dBA, dual ball bearings. So I think that this one would be pretty quiet. I'm thinking 62 is pretty quiet, and you know, especially once I close the door and maybe put some soundproofing, you know, around in there, some insulation or something, I should be good. I don't think it'll be that loud. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. Something like that. And then coming off of here, I'm going to do like a valve, right? So that one side goes up into the attic during the summer, and then the other side, from the Y valve, whatever you want to call it, the other side will go out through that back, the back side of the garage, or I'm sorry, the back side of the closet. And on the other side of this wall is a foyer for the house. So if I punch it out through the top and have it go into the house, so I would just have basically like a lever that I would switch to direct the air either into the house or into the attic. I think it'll be kind of neat, and it'll actually offset some of the heating costs, I think. I don't know. I think it'll be cool. So it's super expensive, but I kind of think that in a few years it would probably pay for itself with heating and stuff. At least, you know, in my mind, you know, that's the way I gotta justify it, right? So I think that it'll be pretty neat to do that this way. All right, let's go and check our HiveOS, see what we're at here. Oh wow, so we're pretty close. 219. Okay, I can deal with that. We're close. We're close to what WhatToMine says. But it also says 840 watts. So let's see what we're at. We're at 912 at the wall. So that's interesting. I mean, it's pretty close. Now, obviously, you can't expect them to be extremely accurate, right, on their calculations. But yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. We're pretty close. We're not that far off. 60 watts or so. 3 souls per second. Not that bad. I think we're okay. Pretty efficient. Now, in reality, what I would do is pull the power back a little bit and get a little bit more efficient. Drop a few souls, of course, but increase the efficiency, right? Let's see here. So let's go through this. So where are we at? We are at 1070s. Come on. 1070s at 32.7 at 115. Okay, so we're only at 0.28. That's pretty low, actually. I mean, you can see that we were getting better efficiency up here. So see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you have to look at this and figure out, okay, so how much am I getting per watt, per electrical watt that I'm actually consuming, right? you can see right here that this setting, even though you're getting better soles per second, 32.7, it's costing you more power than it's worth, because you're only getting 0.28 soles per second, or soles per watt. Okay, so you know, with the other setting, power settings and all that, we were getting 0.3. All right, so keep that in mind. This is where you get down in the weeds and you figure out what's what. So on the TI, you got 37.9 at 126. So the TI, I'm going to forget the numbers, of course, because I can't remember that long. 37.9 at 126. 37.9, 126. So that one's about the same. Well, actually, no, it's lower than the other setting as far as power goes, because here the power draw was only 9.6. So we got 0.34 soles per second there. And we're only getting 0.3 here. So then you got the 1080. So the 1080 is 39.1 at 129. 39.1 at 129. So we dropped again. So, I mean, it's not that bad of a drop compared to these other ones. Although, like the 1070 Ti, I mean, I really like that 105 setting on the TI, even though it's really low compared to its TDP and all that. But that 105 setting seems to be really good because it got 0.34. So let's go on the TIs. Let's go to 105. See if we can get it back to have that really high 0.34 soles per watt. Yeah, I'm a big fan of using that heat off of the rigs to heat the house in the winter. There's no doubt about that. This past winter, I had the rigs kind of spread out throughout the house, and it helped a lot. It helped a whole lot. So I think that's kind of cool. And if I'm going to centralize the rigs and have them all in one spot, like I intend in that closet, then I really need a way, instead of taking the rigs out and putting them throughout the house like I did last year, it would make more sense to just, you know, redirect the heat using that exhaust fan. I just hope that the exhaust fan doesn't use a lot of power, right? I don't think it does. If I remember right, it was pretty low power too. Seems like a pretty good device. So and I don't know if I would get an actual 12-inch or not. You know, we'll see. 12-inch is pretty big. I would probably maybe go with an 8 or a 10. And then you know, if you don't want the cool LCD controller, you can get the regular controller too. You know, save like $50 per device, I think. Alright, so let's do a refresh over here, see where we're at. I can tell we're down on the fan speed here a little bit. Alright, so we're at 32.2. We'll call it 32 on the TIs at 110. Although that power, see here it was at 96. I must have just grabbed it at a time where it was really low, because it's saying 110 now. See, here's a 95. So it does vary, you know, it's got some variable in there. So right now it's at 95. So if I plug that in there, it's going to skew the, you know, the results here, because now it's going to be a little bit better. You know, it's still at 0.34. But nonetheless, you know, that seems to be a good setting for the TIs for sure. Wow, this 1080 is getting 39. Wow. But it's at a cost of that power, you know, because it's at 134 here. Yeah, so I would, you know, again, I like efficiency. So I would pull this back a little bit on the power on each one. Most likely, I'd probably go something like, you know, 110 here, 100 here, 110. That's a 1080, so I maybe go like 120 there. 100, 120. Let's see here. That's a 1080, 1070 Ti. Let's give a 10 Ti a 110. 1070, I would go with 105. $110, $105. That's probably where I would leave it right there. Yeah, exactly, Dan the Dane. Like I wouldn't want to get like a 6-inch fan or an 8-inch fan and have it run at 100% nonstop every day, all day long. That would not be good. I would rather get a 12-inch fan and have it run, like you said, at 50, you know, 60% efficiency. So yeah, that would make way more sense. All right, so we're under 800 watts at the wall right now, or right around 800 watts. Yeah, I only have 22 GPUs right now, Broke Miner. And they're kind of spread over the house. You know, I got one in the garage. Actually, two in the garage, one in one garage, one in the other. And then I've got, you know, a 6 GPU rig, and I got 2 GPUs just kind of for testing and stuff. All right, let's see where we're at here. And I'm like way over. I know DCA Adventures Live. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go ahead, and I think we've got this pretty much narrowed down and good to go. I think we've got some pretty good values in here. I'm gonna let it rock with what we have here. I might adjust these a little bit maybe pull back the power on the 1080s a little bit, maybe. But I think that this is pretty solid. I'll have to plug this into the spreadsheet to find out, but I think that we're back up around these values here, which is nice as far as efficiency goes. So if we go over to DCA Adventure, make sure, I think they're still live. Let's see here. Yeah, they're live. All right, so head over there and do a Savage Raid. Let them know that you came from over here. And if you guys want to play some poker, I'll probably be on there a little bit later, or right after this actually. And I'll see you guys next time, man. Thanks for hanging out. This has been pretty cool. I know I was kind of like all over the place and just kind of talking about whatever, but sometimes that's kind of cool too. So I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys later. Let's play some poker, man. And tell your friends about this thing, because I think the whole tournament thing is pretty cool. If you want more information, just let me know. We haven't nailed down like every specific detail, although we're really close. It is going to be July 11th, from what I understand, and it's probably going to be at like 1 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. So 1 p.m. Eastern time on July 11th is the start time. I think the registration time starts tomorrow. At 1 p.m. Eastern time. So you can register tomorrow for the tournament. Make sure you send your $10 crypto donation to those addresses. But again, if you need more information, just let me know and I'll send it to you. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, or I'll see you guys later. I don't know about tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Stay savage, everybody. Head over to DCA Adventure. Make sure you check them out. Do the Savage Raid thing. I'll see you probably Monday. Stay savage, everybody.